Meanwhile, South Africans have been warned to brace themselves for further increases in the cost of living. That's as analysts say the Reserve Bank is expected to continue with its interest rate hiking cycle, adding on to the rise in food, fuel, transport costs and electricity prices. Our business reporter Tumisang Ndlovu has the details.
The announced 25 basis points increase in the repo rate could have been more, as only 3 members of the Reserve Bank's Monetary Policy Committee disagreed with a 50 basis point hike and 2 voted for a larger rise. This is the 3rd consecutive increase in the interest rate since November, bringing it to 4.25% and subsequently raising the lending rate to 7.75%. Analyst at F&B John Lewis says this is unaffordable for most South Africans.
We know that there's the electricity tariffs, municipal rates, various things going up faster than inflation generally. So there's a lot of sources of financial pressure on the household sector and business alike. And so then 25 basis points per meeting can start to become quite significant.
Head of Home Loans at ABSA, Tumisang Ndlovu, shares advice for overburdened consumers.
Closely monitoring those expenses and removing unnecessary luxuries that may put unnecessary pressure on your budget. The other for us always is going to be save where you can and make sure that you cut any request for new credit.
The central bank has also raised concern of the risk to inflation going forward, saying the outlook is assessed on the upside, worsened by the economic impact of the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Economist Ndumiso Hadebe agrees, further flagging the effects on the already high and rising food inflation.
Given the surging prices of oil, which of course affects us as consumers on the pump, this will permeate in terms of food inflation that we've seen in the headline consumer inflation remained unchanged at 5.7%. But of course, in the near term, we anticipate that to be to significantly increase unless there is some form of intervention from the South African government in this instance.
While the Reserve Bank has revised domestic growth higher from the 1.7% predicted in January to 2%, analysts are not that optimistic. Investment economist at Sanlam, Patrick Buthelezi, shares his views.
For South Africans, it's getting tougher because the cost of living, you can see food prices increasing, as you indicated, that electricity prices have also increased in double digits. I think for me, in terms of economic growth, I was surprised that they raised economic growth to about 2%, given what is happening globally and the fact that they are raising interest rates.
Despite all these matters raised as having an impact on the South African consumer, the Reserve Bank remains of the view that its monetary policy stance is accommodative, as rates were left unchanged at record lows of 3.5% for almost 2 years in an effort to cushion against the harsh economic effects of COVID-19. For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I'm Tumisang Ndlovu in Johannesburg.